Teesha on the tube. Teesha on the tube. How's everybody doing? Happy Monday. My energy's a lot better than it was last night. I was exhausted last night. But I'm here for Mental Health Mondays. Little bit of a late upload. I usually do this earlier in the day, but I had so much to do today. I was folding up laundry, organizing closets. I am overwhelmed. Papers and clothes overwhelmed the hell out of me for whatever reason. It becomes too much. So I'm only going to do Mental Health Mondays today. And like I said, tomorrow I'll do Empire. Wednesday, I guess I'm just going to have to do a double upload of Trending with Teesha. And I'll just do it at separate times on each, separate times on Wednesday. I don't know. I'll figure it out because I know I still owe that. I'll figure it out. I'm going to catch up. So today I wanted to talk about a topic that's like not really spoken about. I think, one would assume, I don't know, it's probably swept under the rug as well, but I know it is a thing. It's more common than people realize. Eating disorders. Now, eating disorders, it can affect anyone. There's some people who have a better handle on it than others, but eating disorders can affect anyone. Doesn't matter trying to position this camera right. It doesn't matter your race, gender, preference, sexual orientation, none of that, color, none of that, ethnicity. Anybody can get an eating disorder, and it is very, very common. So I had got this off of Google. Of course, I Google everything, and the more I Google stuff about mental health, the more that I learn. And I just hope that whatever I Google and I research, it touches you guys out there, so you learn something new as well. So misconceptions surrounding eating disorders are that it's a lifestyle choice. It is not. Eating disorders are actually serious and often fatal illnesses that are associated with severe disturbances in people's eating behaviors and related thoughts and emotions. Common disorders are anorexia nervosa, bulimia nervosa, and binge eating disorder. So, people who have eating disorders do not choose to have eating disorders. It's beyond their control for whatever reason, be it internally, emotionally, mentally, so it pretty much breaks down the three common eating disorders. Anorexia nervosa. People with anorexia nervosa see themselves as overweight when they're dangerously underweight. They have very big food restrictions and or may force themselves to vomit or use laxatives for weight loss. So people who have anorexia nervosa, like they said, they're underweight, like they'll be somewhere like 85, 90 pounds somewhere, probably a little less than that, but they're very much underweight, and it's still like not enough. Like they feel like they need to lose more weight, like they still feel fat. They don't eat what they're supposed to. They probably eat like maybe one meal a day, or they'll have something very small to eat, like a rice cake or something like that. I've seen it happen with people before where they're like, they want to lose weight and they take it to the extreme. Like there's dieting, and then there's restricting your food and all of that other stuff. Like it's extreme. Anorexia has the highest mortality rate of any mental disorder. Some die of complications from starvation, and others die of suicide. So it's sad. A lot of people have died from anorexia, which is what's being said. Others have died from suicide pertaining to it or whatever, I guess because it became too much and like there was no going back, and they just, I guess, decided that suicide was the only option that they had at the time. So I feel like anyone that is suffering from this eating disorder, they're not gonna speak up almost immediately because they don't think that they have a problem. And it's just, you know, with this type of thing, you always need circle of people. You always need support. You always need a support system, a positive support system. And that is with dealing with mental health as a whole. You need a positive support system, no matter what. So now we get to bulimia nervosa, which is, they have recurrent and frequent episodes of eating unusually large amount of food and feeling no control over this. Binge eating is followed by forced vomiting, excessive use of laxatives and diuretics, fasting, and excessive exercise. They might be slightly underweight, normal, or overweight. So bulimia is a little different from anorexia. Like, they binge eat, but then they feel like they've eaten too much. So right after they eat, they throw up. Like, and I kind of feel like bulimia, well, anorexia, they're both in the same, you know, family, depending. But bulimia is a major way how some people feel like they could lose weight. That's not a safe way to lose weight. Binge eating and then throwing it up and using diuretics and laxatives or whatever, that's no good. Because it's like, what's the point of eating all that food if you're going to throw it up or whatever? That's unhealthy. So usually their weight fluctuates or whatever. They probably get sick easier and stuff like that. Same as anorexia, but it's like a little spin to it. Like, people who have bulimia, they don't have food restrictions, and they're also not super duper underweight. They're slightly underweight. They're trying to get to that perfect 130 pounds or whatever goal weight, and they feel like that's the quicker way, rather than doing what works with their body, what works with their BMI, you know? So bulimia is common, and a lot of people go through it when they're trying to lose a specific amount of weight, if you will. Now, the third one is binge eating disorder, and this is a common one too. And it's been displayed on TV, like My 600-Pound Life and stuff like that. So binge eating disorder is people who lose control over their eating. They don't purge, unlike anorexia or bulimia. They're usually overweight or obese. Binge eating is common, and it's when people eat large amounts of food within a certain time period, like somewhere between 2 and 3 hours or so. Like, every 3 hours or so, they feel like, okay, I need to eat or whatever. And they also force themselves to eat when they're full and not hungry. And they also eat in secret, or they eat alone for fear of embarrassment. So binge eating is a thing. Like, I remember I said that when I was pregnant, after I had my son and my daughter, I started binge eating like snacks and stuff for like weeks, like days at a time or whatever. And I didn't even realize that I gained as much weight as I did until it was too late. Like, I was nearly 300 pounds because I was binge eating snacks late night, like clockwork. And it's like, when you do it, you don't even realize that it's happening. It's just, you do it. But I think certain people, when they binge eat or whatever, like the people who do be on My 600-Pound Life or whatever, it's like, it's an addiction. Like, people don't realize food is addictive. Food can be addictive. And it's, some people, again, take it to the extreme, to the point where it's like, okay, no turning back. I gotta keep going, gotta keep going, gotta keep going. So binge eating is very common. Some people can't help it. Again, it's a mental thing. It's a mental disorder. Who knows what they're going through. Food is like comfort. Food is very comforting. Food is like a drug. Like I said, it's addicting. So food is a comfort. Food makes you feel, better. Snacks are life, but it's like there's a limit to what you gotta eat. Like, you have to limit yourself to how much you eat or whatever. You can't overeat, because if you overeat, then you're gonna make yourself sick. So eating disorders can affect anyone. They usually appear during teen years. to young adulthood. They're caused by a complex interaction of genetic, biological, behavioral, psychological, and social factors. So many things play a part in all of these disorders. Society, family, peers, uh, professional life. If you're a young adult and you have children, like I said, I don't want to say like I had a binge eating disorder, but I did binge eat due to depression or whatever when after I had both of my kids or whatever. But I had control over it. It's not like I binge ate myself into like, you know, oblivion or something like that. I had control over it after a while, but some people don't. It's harder for some people. So people with disorders are at a higher risk for suicide and medical complications. They often also have other mental disorders, i.e. anxiety and depression. Treatment can include individual and or group or family therapy, which I recommend for anybody, medical care and monitoring, nutritional counseling, which can help people see what's the best diet that works for them, and medications. Me and medications, I feel like medication should be like a last resort. I don't feel like that's what people, I feel like people should be like evaluated and seen. Like that's when you see a psychiatrist or whatever and they tell you, like they try to like see where your head is at and they see like where you are on the scale. And if it's like severe, then you need medication. If it's like mild, moderate, then you don't really need medication or whatever. You just need to do things like that interest you or that can help you stay on top of your A game as far as losing weight or gaining weight or things of that nature. So I feel like medications is always a last resort, but I always recommend therapy to anybody, individual, group, family, whatever. I recommend it to anybody because everybody, no matter how much we say it, everybody needs somebody to talk to, something or someone to vent to. So, and as far as medical care and monitoring, it is good to go and see like a professional about these situations because they are certified and they are educated more than we are on these types of situations. So it would be good to see, you know, have a doctor tell you, let you know, okay, well, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna have you do this, and this, and this, and then we're gonna monitor you and see how you do, see if that works for you, and if that works for you, then we'll keep that going. So, you know, it's always good to have something like that going. But yeah, like this eating disorders is way more common than people realize, than people know, and it's swept under the rug because people don't really like to talk about it. Like there's people who go through it or have gone through it and they won't speak about it until like later on when it'll come up in conversation and people will be like, yeah, you know, I went through that. It was a scary thing that I went through and it affected my family. So, you know, we all live and have a story to tell about something. But you guys let me know if you have any stories, if you know of any stories, if you know of anybody who's went through it or whatever, feel free to comment below. And don't forget to like and subscribe and tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. Bow. Teesha on the tube. Teesha on the tube. Teesha on the tube. Teesha on the tube. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you so much. Until the next video. Later.